Hey guys, what's going on? It's Don here from Novaspirit Tech, and I want to first thank you, each and every one of you who gave me all these positive comments, and it makes me feel very appreciated, and I really enjoyed reading each and one of them. I thank you so much, and I don't know why I didn't even do this earlier. I was reading through all the comments, and I got a lot of positive thoughts about Patreon itself, so I'm going to leave all the links and everything in the description below. I actually decided to create one, and I think it's a great way to approach. I'm still new at it, so I've been taking a look at other people's Patreon and how to build it and everything. So if you guys find any errors or something that I should have changed or done, leave in the comments below so I know what to look at and know what to fix and everything. As far as update goes, if you guys remember the water cooling that I did for the Raspberry Pi, now Mod My Mods actually took a great interest in this project. Also, they reached out to AlphaCool, the one that makes the components and everything, and they got together, and now they're actually going to create a kit. So recently they just sent me over a lot of the parts and everything. It's still in the mail, so I'm waiting for it, but they sent me over all the parts on what the kit's supposed to be. It's a smaller form factor, smaller radiator. I'm going to test everything out, and as soon as I give the okay, they're going to actually make a kit. So keep an eye out on modmymods.com. That kit should be coming up soon. If you subscribe to my channel, wait for that video, check it out. You're going to see what I do, and I'm going to compare temperatures and everything to a 120mm radiator versus everything else. Another thing is, I've actually been working very hard on my second channel. I've been having a lot of fun on it. I have my co-host, I have guests coming on and everything. I really appreciate it. If you hopped over to that channel, checked out some of the videos, and subscribed, that helps me a lot. I need to really build that channel up so I could start unlocking features on YouTube. So without further ado, let's get to the Q&A. So the first question is, how old are you? I'm 32. What's the job outside of YouTube? My job outside of YouTube is network security engineer. When I'm in the office, I mostly do penetration testing and a lot of coding and stuff like that. When I'm working off hours or after hours and stuff like that, I do network security monitoring. So what made you want to get into video making? That's a pretty good question. Now, okay, let's do a little bit of a story time. So I used to have a website, or actually I still have the website. Back in 2010, I used to do tutorials, but photographic, not video or anything. So I used to take pictures of what I did step by step. Like my first project on that website was me installing a desktop graphic card onto a laptop. It was very fun and all that stuff. So that led me to post tutorials up on my Novaspirit website. And then around 2013, I watched a lot of YouTube. I got into YouTube, not making YouTube videos, but watching YouTube. And I remember like Barnacles with like 10,000 subscribers at that time. But anyway, I used to watch a lot of YouTube. And then move forward a couple of years. Around 2015, something happened with my host, and then I actually did not back up my data, and that's my fault. And I lost my website, the database, everything. It was lost. So I was pretty devastated. But at that time, I was like, I need to find a different platform. I need to find somewhere else where I could put my tutorials where it's reliable. So I ended up deciding to make videos. And keep in mind, I make these tutorials actually for my own reference. If I make these videos and someone else finds it useful, that'll be great. That's why I decided to also go on YouTube, because it's a huge search engine. If somebody needed the project, or somebody needed help or tutorials and stuff like that, they could find me. It's much easier than running your own website. Anyway, so I decided to make videos that way, and I always reference back to my old videos if I need to do a project again. So that's what really got me into making videos. Next question. What kind of equipment do you use? I use a very old DSLR, and this DSLR is the T1i Rebel that I mainly record with. Not only that is hacked, I needed to hack the firmware just so I could record in 1080 30 frames. I'm using Magic Lantern, if you guys are familiar with it. Not only that, I can't record over 14 minutes. Every time it hits 14 minutes, the SD card would stop working, and then I have to restart recording again. And then it doesn't have autofocus, so if you notice like a lot of my earlier videos, it's not focused. It's because I was still learning how to focus everything. So it doesn't have autofocus. I got manually focused every time. So I've got better at that over the years. What software do you use for broadcasting video? This question is a little bit vague. What I use for broadcasting, I would say, is OBS. That's the software. It's free. It's open broadcast software, and that's what I'm using to record with my webcam right now. And then I use that to record my desktop and everything. As far as video editing, I use Premiere CC and Audacity for audio. Hope that answered your question. That was a little bit. I didn't know how to answer it a little bit. For how long have you been working with computers? I've actually been working with computers for a very long time. Professionally, I would say I started when I was 17. I started getting paid. I worked for computer shops. I worked in Manhattan running network cables and a lot of computer stuff there. So officially, I think from 17 and on, I've been professional. But before that, I really started playing with computers around when I was 7 years old. And all actually started with games. I really wanted to play this game called Seven Guest. And at that time, you got to keep in mind that we didn't have Windows 95 or XP or something. We had Windows, but it was Windows 3.1 and it worked off DOS, and all the apps work off DOS. So at that time, if you wanted to get a game started, you need to run in DOS. So at that time, I was learning how to start the program, and my father wasn't home, and I had to read the instructions. And as I was going through, oh, you could type this and this happens, and type that, that's what happens. Then I got really interested, and as soon as I got the game working and I was successful, I just felt proud, and then I really realized I got into computers. How did you learn? How did I learn? Games, actually. It all started with games. I wanted to play Seventh Heaven, then Privateer, Wing Commander, if you guys are familiar with that. And then it stemmed from that. If you guys are old school and you know about conventional memory, should I load the mouse driver? If I load my Sound Blaster, I can't use my mouse. If you guys understand all that, that's when I started learning computers, and I got into it and figured that if I needed to run this, I can't run that, and that's when I started to learn. Did you self-learning or did you study? It was all self-learning. I really did not study anything about computers. Everything was self-taught. Picked up a book, and back then we didn't have Google, so picked up a book and just trial and error, try to run this, try to do that. What got me into a lot of this stuff that I'm doing right now is overclocking. What I mean by that is, back in the day, we didn't have much money to keep upgrading our computers. So if you wanted to speed up your computer, you would overclock. So I really learned how to do all this hardware stuff, and it was all self-learning just from overclocking and playing games. When did you get into tech? That was a similar question as far as, I guess, how long have I been working with computers? I've been into computers and tech for a very long time. Most recently is, I guess, when Raspberry Pi really came out, and a little bit before that when Arduinos were very popular. I got really into these embedded devices, these little hardware stuff. So I think 2012, 11, I don't remember, but right around that time I got really deep into Raspberry Pis and Arduinos and stuff like that. But I've always been into tech. I mean, as far as computers and everything, I've always been into it. Can you code? Yes, I can code. I actually code almost every single day. I could code in multiple languages. If you're a penetration tester, you need to be able to test your own code, shell scripts, and all that other stuff. So yes, I code almost on a daily basis, and I do a lot of coding on the side for other projects. Mainly because I'm lazy. Instead of having to press 5 clicks, you could do it with one code. So I might as well just code something that will do those 5 clicks. So yes, I code a lot. Okay, I got a comment from Robert7. It really isn't a question, but it was regard to a project, and I liked his comment, so that's why I'm going to answer it. He's interested. He was asking about a Game Boy Zero. As a matter of fact, I actually am working on a project like that. I just started ordering parts, figuring out what I need. So I am going to be making my own Raspberry Pi Game Boy, much like the Pi Girl. So hang out for that. That video should be coming out soon. How do you store your videos? Okay, I store them locally. And because I run my own server, I run my own virtualization system and everything, I actually created a file server system on there that runs my RAID channels and all that stuff. So I store everything locally. And because I run my own servers, it's basically like the cloud. I could reach my house anywhere from anywhere around the world. I have VPN access and everything. So Yeah, I store everything locally and in my hard drives here. And yes, I do have redundancy. I have backups and stuff like that. Can you further elaborate voltage control on Raspberry Pi? Okay, here's a little bonus. I wasn't going to answer any projects, but as far as the voltage control on the Raspberry Pi, I created my own voltage controller using the LM307T. And I could actually step down a 5 volt all the way down to 1.2, the lowest, and I could go up from there. And then I actually tied it into a capacitor that is on the Raspberry Pi. Now, that's not going to be able to control the voltage itself because there's a digital controller, which is the RT8088. Now, if you look at the schematics on the raspberrypi.org website, you're going to see that the RT8088 controls the voltage 1.394 volts or something going to the CPU itself. Now, my plans is I'm going to desolder a coil that's in the path and then a resistor that returns. I'm actually going to desolder these two little chips and then apply direct voltage to the CPU myself using my voltage controller. That's going to be a little bit of a wait because I got a lot of projects coming up with the Raspberry Pi that requires me to use all my Raspberry Pis. I'm going to do a bigger water cool project, which I'm going to try to water cool 4 or 5 Raspberry Pis. So hang out for that for a little bit. That video is coming. It's just going to be a little bit of time before I get that going, but it will be coming. So that's the last of my questions. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys have any questions or anything about this video, or if you want to give me a shout out or something about Patreon, leave it in the comments below. I'll be reading everything. If you haven't done so already, hit that little subscribe button. That helps me a lot. Also, check out my second channel. That will help me tremendously. And I'll see you guys next time.